Hey, welcome back, guys. This is another edition of Sling Paint Gaming. I am Berto, and we are going to do a Destiny list review. This is probably one of our first list reviews. We're doing a lot of matches and a lot of unboxings and all that stuff. And I see already people already coming online. Reach is online. He's like, I'm first. I'm online. All right, so what we're going to be doing is we're going to be talking about a Han Solo Elite and Rey Elite combination, what we're calling the Ambush Aggro. This was actually a deck that I saw on the Star Wars Destiny DB. And if you guys don't know what the Star Wars Destiny DB, it's a resource that's great for putting decks together. Just like you know how X-Wing has a bunch of list creators, if you're into Star Wars Destiny, this is a list creator just for Star Wars Destiny. And actually, if you go to our resource page, which is, I'm actually here, let me flip it right over to my screen here. If you go to this list page if you go to Destiny and Destiny resource list, just like we have the X-Wing resource list, we built out a simple Destiny resource list. This is some of the rules, tournaments, deck builders. This is the one we're talking about. It's called Destiny DB. And when you get there, it actually looks just like this. You can build out your lists, edit. It tells you about the card types, card rarities, card cost, all that fun stuff. So let's just get right into this. This was a list that was actually created by, I believe it was Epic Allen on Star Wars DB, and he had the list. Now, I didn't have all the cards at first, and we were going through this, and actually my daughter plays this list, and she's only 7 years old, but I love this list, and when she plays it against me, it is a nasty, nasty list. And just let me go back here real fast. If you want, basically what we're talking about is Han Solo, double dice, which is elite, and Rey, which is a double dice elite. This is the deck. She plays this deck. She's got her lovely little pink thing that she does here. So she's sleeping. My wife's sleeping. Both kids are sleeping. So I'm doing up some videos. I was doing a lot of research, doing some deck tweaks, and I kept on going back and forth and taking Epic Allen's list and trying to tweak it a little bit more. And I just actually, I just kind of like his list. It's a great list and what he put together. So what I wanted to do was talk about it. Some people were asking like mechanics and how do you put lists together. Just like X-Wing, right? Destiny's the same thing. You gotta trial and error. You gotta play some matches. And there's a bunch of different things. There's a tabletop simulator that actually has Star Wars Destiny. Nims is big on that. So if you guys want to check it out, he's SPG Nims. I'm gonna try to get on that. He's gotta show me how it works. So I'm gonna try to get on that. But I've been doing a lot of playing against my daughter or local tournaments or just casual nights or what have you. And I just wanted to talk about this list because I have a couple other lists that I've been working with, but this list I just love it. It's like action economy. I mean, there's just so many different things that you're doing, especially with Rey's ability and the ambush ability. But let's get right into this deck here. Let me switch to view. All right. So we're gonna get right into this deck. Again, it's called the Ambush Aggro, and let's do this. Hide favorites bar so we get some more room up top there. There we go. All right. So Ambush Aggro. It's Han Elite, Rey Elite. Now, again, if you look at Han, all right, look at his dice results here. He's got the 2 range. He's got the 3 range that costs 1 resource, the 2 disrupts. He's got the 2 single resource icons that you can get, and then 1 blank. And then his ability says after you play a card with the ambush keyword, you may give this character a shield. So Han gets loaded up with shields. It's great. I love it. He's a legendary, so it's kind of hard to find. It's at least 6 legendaries in a box, and there's actually a bunch of different legendaries out there. But for character, he's running at 18 points because we're doing double dice. He's a health of 10, which is nice. I like that. And then Rey, what you got here is 12 points for Elite Rey, and health is also 10. So you got 20 health. That's a lot of health to chew through, and especially if you play this right and with the ambush cards and you're giving Han a lot of shields, it's going to actually work out into your favor here. Rey's actually part of the starter deck, so you might have to get 2 starter. I think you actually get the double dice with Rey. That's right, you do. And Finn is 1 dice. That's right in the starter set. But she's got melee 1 damage plus 2 melee damage. And she's got 1 there's a discard, card, 2+ resources, and a blank. But this is where her abilities kick ass. After you play an upgrade on this character, you may take one additional action. Now think about that. With Han's ability of Ambush, you're bringing all the yellow cards, and some of the other cards that we're going to talk about, especially Infamous and where is it, Unpredictable, anything that with the Ambush, and especially even some of these dice cards, you're going to get actions upon actions upon actions before your opponent even gets to respond. So this whole, you know how Destiny works. Destiny goes, you take an action, your opponent takes an action. You take an action, opponent takes an action. But with this combination, it allows you to stack actions, and that's the whole purpose of this deck, right? If you can stack the actions and get these cards out, it's and especially if you get these cards out in your first 5 cards that you're holding in your hand, it's going to be killer. All right, so let's just get right into this deck. We talked about Han, we talked about Rey. All right, so you know Rey's ability and Han's solo ability. So let's go right into some of these upgrades. Now, there's a big conversation about how many dice cards you should have, right? Somebody's saying, some people say half. Some people say, this you should have at least 10 dice or several dice cards that at least have 10 extra dice in your hand. You know what? This is just like X-Wing, right? Whatever works, whatever combinations work, and you gotta try, you gotta test it. You gotta test your decks, right? I love this version of this deck. I made some tweaks and I kept on going back to the original version of the deck, and my daughter likes this version of the deck too. And we don't have all the cards, like we only have one Jetpack, so we were trying to put something else in. I'm actually working on getting another Jetpack, but we proxied a Jetpack in there just to see how it would work, right? And even if we got 2 Jetpacks, it was very rare we got 2 Jetpacks down on the board. So just proxying it, just trying to see how the cards come out, right? Because that's the part of this whole game is like the randomness of the cards, the luck of the draw, and also the dice draw, right? So most of the time we're only playing 1 Jetpack. Now if we get 2 Jetpacks, they'll be huge, but for argument's sake, we only get for playing 1. But I love this deck and the way this guy put this deck together, and he made some tweaks over time. You can actually check it out if you go to the deck lists up here on top and search for Epic Allen Ambush Aggro. You can take a look at that. Now, what does aggro mean real fast? That's aggressive. It's a short term for aggressive. Ambush, because ambush in Destiny, ambush allows you to take another action. All right, and I'm looking at the feed here. I see Scott's online. What's up? Playing X-Wing with another brother. Yeah, doing some Destiny right now. And I'm on the big screen. Oh, great. All right, they're watching me while they're playing X-Wing. All right, so let's get back into this. All right, so getting back to the dice, again, whatever works. This is what's been working for us with the same variation of dice and same variation of cards. And I just love this with this setup. So let's go right into it. The first thing I'm going to go right in here is the DL44 Heavy Blaster. Okay, it's a rogue card, which is the yellow card, right? Costs 3. So this is something where you want to start seeing in the middle of the game. You don't want to see this early on because it costs 3 resources. So you're going to have to try to get some resources if you do get it up front to play it. But look, what I love about this is half the sides of the dice are damage, and a whole lot of damage. Look at that. 3 range plus 1 resource, 2 plus 2 range, 1 resource token, and 2 blanks. Negative side to 2 blanks. But if you look at the keyword there, it says ambush. It says after you play this upgrade, force an opponent to choose and remove one of their dice. So if this is actually a great middle game, because if you can, and also end game too. But if you play this upgrade and you're able to play it, you get to remove one of your force an opponent to choose and remove one of the dice. They can remove the dice now. They choose, so they're not always going to remove their good dice, but it's an ambush, okay? And I'm going to talk about play mechanics in a little bit. I just want to go and kind of give the breakdown right now. So you get 2 of these bad boys. Force throw. I love me some force throw action. It's got one. It's a cost of 3. Again, it's something I don't want to see in the beginning of my deck. Maybe in the middle, maybe 3rd or 4th round, I want to start seeing this. It's blue character only, so the only negative side, it can only go on Rey. There's a special side, and there's 2 special sides. Remove a die to deal a character damage equal to the value showing on that die. So keyword is remove a die to deal character damage. It doesn't have to be a range or a melee damage. It can be anything that has a number on it. So if it has a number, you can deal damage using that special ability. So that's great. And specials and blanks are considered zeros. So you want to have something that has a number. So if you rolled, let's say, for lack of better words, let's say you rolled a 2 resource or 2 disrupt or something like that. If you rolled that, you can actually just send 2 damage instead of doing the 2 disrupt. So that's what I love about force throw. In essence, you're basically getting almost 3 damage, so it helps with some of the other dice mechanics if you need to finish off an opponent, or just create some more damage. I love that. Holdout blasters. This is what I think every deck known to mankind has these two, at least 2 of these in their deck. We can only do 2 of them, but at least 1, if not 2. It's a rare. Okay, so it's not as bad as a legendary, but they are difficult to come by. Just like the DL44, it does have 3 damage sides. So 1 range damage, 2 damage plus a resource, plus 2 range damage, 1 shield, 1 resource, and a blank. The key thing on this, it's an ambush. Okay, so anytime you play a card that has an ambush, you get a free action. And it's a redeploy. Okay, so what redeploy basically means is if your character dies, you can move this over to another character that is alive still without no cost whatsoever. You just basically move it over. Now, if they've already rolled their dice, the die can't go back. You can't roll that die, but it's great because it still stays alive. I love that. Hunker down. Hunker down is probably, I like this card a lot because it allows you to give a shield. It says if this attached character takes a melee damage, discard this upgrade. So that's the only negative side if it takes a melee damage. But action, you can exhaust this as one of your actions. All right, exhaust this upgrade to give a character 1 shield. So it's great to give some more shields, and this helps out with the whole mechanics between Ray and Han, because Han's getting the action, getting the free shield every time you play an ambush card, no matter what in your hand. If you play it on Ray or Han, he gets a free shield no matter what. Or if you just play a card itself, anytime you play an ambush, he gets a shield. Now he can only have 3 shields max, but this allows you probably to put Hunker down right on Ray to give her shields to back her up. So that's where I would play Hunker down. Because Ray and Han, Ray especially, are probably people going to go after Ray because of the combinations of Ray. They're going to usually people go after him. So if you could put some shields onto Ray, that's great. Jetpack. This is just a great card. A lot of people, again, it's a rare. It's an upgrade cost of 2, but it's got 2 damage sides, plus 2 range, plus 3 range. It's got 1 disrupt, 2 shields, again, shields, keyword shields, and it's also got a special. So remove a die showing melee damage and give attached a character 1 shield. All right, so I love that. And then you got the blank. Again, the jetpack is just a nasty find, especially when you get the plus 2, plus 3 range. It just hurts. This is also nice because since everybody goes for Ray, if you have the jetpack, this works synergizes well with the damage output that Han puts out, because Han puts out range damaged. Okay, so that's key. Anything, and this has a plus 2, plus 3, so it requires that you have to put it requires that you have to actually send the damage through using with a regular normal range damage. But there's some cards that help with that, which is Awakening, but we'll get into that in a sec. All right, so 1 with the Force. All right, so 1 with the Force, it's a legendary. Okay, cost is 4 points, but it does have a 3 range. All right, it's got 2 focus, a 3 focus, 3 disrupt, 2 shields, and 2 resources for your sides of your die. It's only the blue character, but it says before an attached character is defeated, this upgrade becomes a support for the rest of the game, and it starts ready. So if you are creating some resources and you're able to pay the 4 cost of this is an awesome card to have. Again, you can only play it on Ray, and you have to work out with the combinations of Ray because you can only allow 3 upgrades per character. So if you can work this in, having 2 upgrades and getting all those ambush actions with Ray and her ability, right? If you can get 1 with the Force as your last upgrade on her, if she gets defeated, which 9 times out of 10 usually she's the first one that gets defeated, this will act as a perfect support card, and because it's got the range damage, it will match up with Han Solo to be able to push that through. Love it. All right, and last but not least, raised staff. Everybody's like raised staff. You get 14,000 raised staffs when you're opening up booster packs. That and BB-8, I'm not sure why. Even though they're included in the starter deck, you should not have those raised staff in booster packs. But anyway, that's another conversation for another day. But with raised staff, it's a 2 weapons cost, so it's great because it matches up with the 2 resources that you get every turn. 1 melee damage, 2 melee damages. Then she's got a 3 melee damage for 1 resource, and then a special. I love this special because there's this remove a die showing damage, melee, or range, and then a blank. So melee and range, it doesn't show what the cost. So if you have an opponent that has some nastiness on their side that they just rolled, and you have a raised staff special showing, guess what? You can actually get rid of it. And a cool part with raised staff, you can put this on Han. It's not a blue upgrade or doesn't have to be on Ray. Now, everybody's saying, well, okay, this is a unique. So raised staff, you can only have 1 on your field. Why do you have 2 in your deck? All right. It's 2 in your deck because it is a good card, especially with the special ability, especially with the damage. You can still push damage through here, but you can only have 1 physically on your thing there. So just as a heads up. All right, I see a couple more people joining up here. I see Daniel, I see Morgan, I see Michael. They're all joining up and messaging on the chat board. What's up, guys? All right, so that is all the dice. All right, so this is a great dice setup. So now let's get into some of the support cards, especially right off the bat. Let's get into the Starship Graveyard, which is the battlefield. Of course, Jakku. It says claim, choose a support or upgrade in your discard pile and place it on the top of your deck. I love this, especially if you're trying to fish out for some support cards or an upgrade, right? And you want to put it on Han or something, or you can actually claim this. This is good because I like this because you can get things back. This is the only thing we can go into the discard pile and get things that you potentially want and get it back. But I like this. I played with other different things, with other graveyards, I'm sorry, not graveyards, with other battlefields with this deck. I like what Epic Allen built here, and I'm just keep going with the Starship Graveyard. It works very nice. All right, so for other support cards, so the support and upgrades are what the graveyard can bring you back. But you have Awakening, okay? This is a starter, all right? A lot of people like Awakening, and 2 of them. But this is for 1 cost, all right? Especially with the dice, how they're loaded up. And there's a lot of plus range or plus something between Ray and some of the upgrades and what have you. This actually helps you, all right? So it says in action, you can exhaust this support to resolve one of your dice showing a modified side, the side with the plus side, as if it was not modified. So if you have that weird card, actually, let's just, if you do, where is it? For argument's sake, let's say if you have, where is it? Let's say you have Jetpack, okay, and you run the Jetpack damage, all right? You can actually, the +2 and the +3 range, you can actually tap Awakening to send the +2 or the +3 range in by itself for whatever reason. Let's say if you didn't have Han and you didn't roll any normal range damage, but you only had the plus range damage. Well, Awakenings allows you to send that damage right through. So that helps out. And for 1 resource, that's a great cost. The other thing I like about this deck is this whole deck is designed to be very cost effective as far as resourcing, because it allows you to spend your money on your hits, on your damage, or upgrades instead of actually support or event cards. So Infamous, this card is nasty because especially it pairs up with Han Solo's ability and Rey's ability. But it says, especially if you're playing an upgrade, it says before you play a yellow card, you may exhaust this support to give it the ambush keyword. And what does ambush do? Ambush allows you to basically, again, take another action. So you can play a yellow card and then do another action, which we'll get into with some of the other yellow cards that actually are ambush cards. So, and then with Rey's ability, so let's say if you're playing Hunker Down, okay, you can actually play, if you have this card already on your board, right, and it's a support, before you play, you can exhaust Infamous card, right, that will give you the Hunker Down, right, which is a 0 cost, okay, and it makes it an action. So you can play Hunker down on Ray, and because Ray's got ability, after you play an upgrade on this character, you may take one additional action. Well, now you got two more actions. Think about this. Because you got Ray's action to take another action, or Ray's ability to take another action, and then because you exhausted Infamous, you can take Hunker down as playing a yellow card, and you get another action. So you get two more after you play Hunker down, right? After you tap if you tap Infamous, right? You play the yellow card on Ray, you get an action, you get Ray's free action, and you get the ambush free action. That's two additional actions. So you can potentially tap Ray or exhaust Ray and roll a bunch of dice and send a dice through at the same time as the two additional actions. You can tap Ray and tap Han and roll and then see what you got. And then maybe the next turn you can send all the damage through. There's a lot of combinations. I'm looking at down the chat room. Daniel just joined us and he says, drop Ray's staff for second chance. Actually, I probably would agree with you on that because of the a lot of damage that goes through. Second chance may actually help, but we'll talk about that in a sec. So other cards that you got here, you got Disarm. All right. So Disarm, it's a cost of 1. Again, a low cost card. And it says remove one of your dice showing melee or range damage to discard a weapon or equipment from play that costs equal to or less than the value of that die. Okay. This, like I said, weapon or equipment. Okay, so it's a weapon or equipment, not look. You can't do one with the force because it's an ability. All right, it's weapon or equipment, so it's got to be one of these weapons, not force throw, because force throw is an ability. But for DL heavy blaster, which is a cost of 3, Holdout blaster, which is a cost of 2, Jetpack, which is a cost of 2, and then Race Staff, which is a cost of 2. So the highest thing you got is a 3. You can actually disarm and take away, discard a weapon or equipment equals to the value of that die. So you actually can help disarm a Rayleigh or main damage. I'm sorry, Rayleigh or mange damage. You just hear what I just did? I just combined the two different things here. Melee or range damage to actually take away cost equal to remove a value of that die. So you could potentially disrupt and play with your opponent's dice by using Disarm. Now, do you do it every time? No, but it's that chance when you have it in your hand and you got to make something happen to stay alive or whatever the case may be, or trying to defeat or take away some actions or their ability to control or what have you. All right, so you got Draw Attention as your next card. It's a rogue yellow card, which is a cost of 0. Move up to 2 damage from one of your characters to another one of your characters. This ignores shields. So this is great because you're going to know that Ray's going to get hit and go after first because of all her ambush stuff, right? When that happens with all her ambush, right, people are going to send a lot of damage through her. What you can play is Draw Attention to help distribute that damage to Han. And because you're playing all those ambushes, Han's got shield. Now, this does not go through shields. It goes behind shields. But because Han's got shields, all right, it evens up some of the damage. So damage is going to still be on Han, right? So let's say you have 4 damage on Ray and you're playing Draw Attention. Well, you can move 2 damage onto Han. He's still got 3 shields, but at least he's got shielded up and you're taking away some of the heat from Ray. And that's kind of what this whole purpose of Draw Attention is. Next is Heroism. Heroism is another 0 cost upgrade. It's a force card or a blue card. Deal one of your unique characters damage to the value of an opponent's die showing range damage or melee damage, and then remove that die. Now, you're like, okay, what's the purpose of this? Again, tying it back to Han's shields. Now, you're probably not going to do this with Ray because Ray's probably going to have a lot of damage. But if you do this correctly with Han, and let's say, for argument's sake, let's say your opponent's got a 2 range damage and a 2 plus range damage, and that's all he's got, right? And he's not playing Awakening card or anything like that. He's not, let's just say he's just got that range damage. Well, if you can take away, just like Disarm, if you can take away that 2 plus range damage, well, he's stuck, depending if he wants to re-roll or spend cards to re-roll, but he's stuck with that plus 2 damage that he cannot send through if he doesn't have an Awakening. So Heroism allows you to deal one of your non-unique characters. So you can say, you know what, I'm going to take this and put this on Han, right? I'll take the 2 shields off. He's still, so instead of saying 4 damage through, he's only sending 2 damage through. And again, I'm distributing my damage across between my players because more likely he's going to be going after Ray. So that's the thought of the Heroism. All right, and you have 2 of those in your deck. Scavenge, another one of my also top favorite cards. This another cost of 0 rogue card, which is a yellow card. Discard the top 3 cards of your deck. Then you may add an upgrade or support from your discard pile to your hand. Okay, so just like how Disarm takes away that damage, that you could take away a die, Scavenge allows you to get it back. All right. Now, it says discard the top 3 cards, and you may add an upgrade support from your discard pile. Now, the cost of it is you're discarding cards from your deck. But you can use this in 2 ways. One, you can go back and get something that you discarded from Disarm. Or 2, let's say you need to get something out, right? And you want to see what it is. Get something, get one of those cards out. You can take the top 3 cards out and potentially try to get one of those 3 cards, because if you look at the text here, you're discarding the top 3 cards first. Then you may add an upgrade or support from your discard pile. So those top 3 cards, you can actually use one of those top 3 cards, and if anything else is in your discard pile. So Scavenge is a great way to get to fish out some cards. But again, it's going to cost you 2 cards because you're going to put one in your hand if you're taking one of those top 3, or 3 cards if you're trying to get something else. But again, use it sparingly. We do have 2 in the deck, but it's a 0 cost. But it's a nice way to get out some different cards back into your hand. And again, it's an upgrade or a support card. Scramble. So this is another rogue card, a 0 cost card again, a yellow rogue. Spot a yellow character to re-roll all of an opponent's die. Now, a lot of people were like, why would you want to play this and re-roll your opponent's die? Well, let's just say your opponent just started playing, right? And they just started rolling or activating their characters, and they're just rolling a whole nastiness of damage and stuff. I like Scramble because those are the situations where, okay, he just spent a lot of time, re-rolls, whatever the case may be, to get all that dice that he wants to see. Or let's say if I see some specials that are just nasty, and whatever it is, right? My odds, because if you guys understand the dice odds, 9 times out of 10, a lot of the characters, if you look at Han Solo and even Rey, a lot of the characters, except for non-unique characters like Stormtrooper, and I even think Night Sisters, and I think the non-unique ones, the unique ones only have 2 dice that deal range damage, or deal range or melee damage, deal any sorts of damage like that. The stormtroopers and stuff like that have 3 sides showing damage. So with Scramble, if they're getting all the damage, right, you have actually almost a better chance for them to roll blanks or something else besides damage than actually rolling damage itself. Again, so if unique characters, majority of them, I want to say almost all of them, have 2 sides showing damage. Think about this: 2 sides showing damage. That's a 1 out of 3 chance. 2 out of 6, down doing your fractions and math and all that fun stuff that we learned in school. You have a 1 in 3 chance of rolling damage, right? But you have a 2 out of 3 chances, a more chance of rolling nothing. So Scramble, if in a last-ditch effort, will actually help you out. And this is a card that I want to see in the middle of my game and towards the end of my game, because there's times where I need, for lack of a better word, scramble their dice up, and I don't like what they're showing, and I need to have them re-roll. There is one time, I think that one time I used Scramble, and all the times I used Scrambled, that actually they rolled either something similar or very similar to what they had originally. But 9 times out of 10, it either blanked out, got what they didn't want, which was putting damage through. And you're running 2 of those bad boys. Now, see all these, before we go up, Scavenge, Scramble, Draw Attention, Disarm. These are not ambush cards, right? Shoot First is, I'm going to get back to that in a second, but remember, if you're playing Infamous and you have that as a support on your board, before you play a yellow character, you may exhaust the support to make the ambush keyword. All of these other cards, Scramble, Scavenge, Draw Attention, Disarm, even Smuggling, right, are cards that you can actually make once per turn, once per round. You can actually make it an ambush, which basically helps Han Solo to get him more shields. So that's cool. All right, so getting back to Shoot First, I have one of these in the deck that, Epic Allen has one of these decks. I also like the one in the deck. I tried playing 2 in the deck, but 1 I think is just fine. Again, it's an ambush, so when you play it, you get another action. But it says resolve one of your yellow dice showing range damage, then remove an opponent's die showing range damage. Get this. So you get to resolve your range damage for a cost of 1 resource. And at the same time, you can remove an opponent's die showing range damage. Again, so another way to manipulate dice and also force your dice. And the best part about this, because it's an ambush, you get to do another action right afterwards. So you can send more damage through. You can put more shields on, whatever the die. There's a whole bunch of different things you can do, or play another card. It's up to you. That's why I like sometimes running 2 of these bad boys in here. But because you have melee and range, and there's back of there's not one. Range damage is not being played more than melee. I think it's kind of a 50-50 split between all the decks that are out there and the meta decks. Smuggling. This is another yellow rogue card, which is spot a yellow character and discard a card from your hand to gain 1 resource. This is costing you 0. Again, if you have the Infamous card, you can tap Infamous to make this an ambush card. So you can spot a yellow card and discard a card from your hand to gain 1 resource. And then let's say you're waiting for that 1 resource to put damage through. Well, guess what? Now you just put damage through. So that's the whole smuggling thing, which I love that. There's 2 of these in here. It works very, very well. And last but not least, one of my favorite cards. If you guys watched the video that talks about our 3 favorite non-dice cards, Unpredictable is one of my favorites. It's a rogue, a yellow card. It's a cost of 0, which is awesome. It's an ambush. You get to get another action after you play it, but you can re-roll a die or your opponent's die if you want to. 1 die, okay, you're like, well, 1 die, is it that good? Let me tell you, I played Unpredictable and has helped me, I want to say 90-95% of the time. Most of the time, I'm probably rolling one of my die, where it helps me. But the ambush, worst case, if I do have 1 die that I need to change and I roll it, unless I roll it bad, I can do an ambush and do other things, whatever the case would be, take another action. The cool part about this is, just like Scramble, where you're re-rolling your opponent's die, again, think about the mathematics of this. I usually use Unpredictable to potentially roll an opponent's die if I don't like something I see, but it allows you to take another action thereafter. So that is the initial deck. So that's the breakdown. There's a lot of talking about a lot of different things. Let me look at some of the questions here on the live feed that we got here. Like I said, Daniel Nelson said drop raise staff for second chance. I like second chance. Second chance is a great card. And if you guys want, let me just pull this up. Not change. Second chance. So second chance, Daniel Nelson says drop raise staff for it. So it's a cost of 3. This is actually really good. Now, this is yellow character only. Now, this works well because if everybody's shooting at Ray, and with all the ambush that you have, and you're getting all the shields because of Han's ability, every time you play an ambush, you give a shield to Han, right? Second chance is actually, it's not a bad idea. But it says yellow character only before an attached character would be defeated. Instead, heal 5 damage from it, and discard this upgrade from play. Okay, so again, this is an upgrade, so it's going to take one of your upgrade slots. But if you think about it, all right, this, for 3 points, basically you're healing 5 damage, and because of the shield, and let's say this is even when you have them, and let's say you have 2 blasters on, this is going to make your deck. Think about this. Your deck just went from 20 health to 25 health. Now, I've seen people pull out Unpredictable twice, so if you're dropping Raise Staff and you play 2 of these bad boys, this actually makes you make it 30 health if you time it right. Now, again, it's timing. I've only done that. I've seen that done once to me with a Padme and Akbar deck, running second chance, where they got Padme to get double second chance and stayed alive for God knows how long, and it drove me crazy because he played second chance. But second chance is nasty. It increases your health. Actually, that's not a bad idea, Daniel. I love that. So that's some of the other tweaks. Some of the other things were like, a lot of times you're not going to get all the cards, right? So if you're not going to get all these cards you have, and a lot of times you're probably going to get hung up on Jetpack. You're probably going to get hung up on one with the Force. You're also probably going to get hung up with Holdout Blaster. So there's a lot of other cards that you could potentially put in here. Keep in mind, what Han Solo and what Rey's abilities are, and the whole purpose of the deck is to spend resources on either damage to push through or resources for upgrades. But just keep that in mind. Second chance that's probably, you know what, that's probably one thing I wouldn't make a change for, is put second chance out. Maybe take out Rey's staff and put one or two in there, or to make some tweaks. But again, tweak, try, see what happens. But that actually will increase Han Solo's health, because usually everybody goes for Rey. You distribute the health damage between Han with some of the cards here, and then Han Solo stays alive with second chance. The only thing though is if you have some holdout blasters on Rey, let's say two of them, they are redeployable. If you try to put, you can move at least two of them, and if you have the one second chance on Han, just remember it's 3 slots that you can fill up as far as your upgrades per character. So just keep that in the back of your mind. All right, so now let's talk about. So we talked about the breakdown. We talked about some potential tweaks with second chance. Some people run an additional hunker down to get that extra shields to put shields through. Second chance is probably more cost effective, I think, point wise, or I say resource cost wise. And then the only thing you sacrifice is an upgrade slot. You do want to get a lot of upgrades on these guys, especially Rey. You want to max her out. Get all the ambushes out there. Get all the reroll double actions from Rey's ability. And if you get the ambushes, Han Solo's going to be loaded up with shields. So keep that in mind. But the next step, what I want to talk about is how do you play this? So when you're first putting you're shuffling up your deck, what you want to see right off the bat, right? You would love to get like a great starting hand would be like holdout blasters, right? Or honestly, I probably the DL44. If I get a DL44 blaster, it's great, but it's a 3 cost. I like the holdout blaster because I get 2 resources every turn, and a holdout blaster is holdout blaster is 2 resources. So if I can get a holdout blaster on at least my first 5 cards, and I might mulligan for a new hand of cards if I don't see a holdout blaster, because I want to get at least one holdout blaster. Worst case scenario, a DL44 heavy blaster. The only negative side is I got to find an extra resource to get that for DL44 blaster. Or if you have the holdout blaster, right, and then you play you switch out the upgrades for the DL44, paying the cost of 1 resource the next following turn or what have you, that might be better, because holdout a DL44 heavy blaster is a nastier card. Look at that; it's got 3 range, 3 range plus 1 resource and plus 2 range. That is a nastier card than the holdout blaster. Holdout blaster is it's still good too, but paying the 1 resource difference and then maybe is a little bit better. And then if you got the holdout blaster is put in your discard pile because you switched out the DL44, well, guess what? You can actually play Scavenge, right, and get that card back. And then guess what? You put that card back, you put it on top of your in your hand, you play it on Rey if she's got upgrade slots available, and you get that whole shenanigans of the holdout blaster's ambush. You get the shield that goes on Han because of his ability, and you get the double action because of Rey. All right, the DL Heavy 44 blaster is great. It's an ambush too, so you get the whole shenanigans with that as well. So those two are probably ones that you'll want to look for. More on the holdout blaster first, because you can start putting a lot of damage through before shields are being put up. Like usually in the first turn between Rey and Han, if I can get 2 holdout blasters and get some resources with one of my actions to activate Han as my resources, and then if I get more resources, I can put another holdout blaster on Rey. I get another action, it's another ambush, and send more damage through. It's nasty. I've seen, like my daughter, she did this to me. She was able to roll, which was really nasty. On her first turn, she got holdout blaster, right? 2 holdout blasters in the first turn. She put it on 1 on Rey, spent the 2 resources. She played Han Solo, right? Got the 2 disrupt. I forget what it was. The 2 disrupt. So she shut me down on resources. Then she rolled Rey with the Han. She got 1 resource and 2 disrupt, and then she got the extra resource. And then she was able to play another resource on Rey on the next following turn. I'm sorry, another holdout blast on the next following turn. And it was just like layering damage to me and stopping my resource. I couldn't even get any upgrades whatsoever out the first 2 rounds because she was just shutting me down with Han Solo's ability. Because for some reason she would roll on the 2 disrupt that he has there. It's just nasty. Um, Infamous and Scavenge. If you can get those out, all right. Infamous and Scavenge in the first, probably your first hand. Infamous making all the yellow cards that you play uh, once per round because you exhaust it but once per round. That makes it an ambush. Scavenge because if you're doing a switch out for the DL44 blaster in the first turn between holdout blaster, you can scavenge and get the holdout blaster back in your turn for your next round. Like I said, it's just a nasty thing that you can have. Now, um, if you place the way this up, if you stack your ambushes together, right, and you have unpredictable in your hand too, that whole first turn, there's like five, I forget what it is, like 4 or 5 different actions that you can do once before the opponent can even react. And then the next reaction, turn that they can do, and if you even get the disrupt from Han Solo, it's just nasty. The other thing too is a lot of this deck is dealing about distributing your health. A lot of people go for Rey because they see the shenanigans with Rey, with all the action that she gets. They want to shut down Rey. Now, is that right or wrong to go for Rey first if you're playing up against this? You know, I think it's just kind of luck of the draw and your luck of your dice and how fast you can get it. Um, if you see a second chance on Han Solo, do you go for Han Solo first? If somebody's running a second chance in this deck, that's an option. Um, but most people that I've seen, and even some of the games that I've recorded, usually people go for Rey first. So knowing that, because Han Solo is going to be loaded up with shields, because all the ambushes that you'll be playing on Rey, he's going to be loaded up with shields. Everyone wants to go for Rey first. Now, if you can distribute that shield and get shields on Rey, and cushion it, and then distribute some of um, the damage too, like draw attention, right? Where you can move from 2 damage from Rey to Han and kind of distribute and keep Rey alive. The whole shenanigans between Rey and Han is just going to be nasty. All right, so we always talk about how do you play it. How do you play against this? So you have to shut down. You have to shut down that action economy. Now, once it gets going and it's in a chain reaction, just hold on to your seat and just buckle in, because if they get those actions and they got the resources and they got the dice results, there's gonna be several actions that they're gonna be doing before you even get anything to do. So just keep that in mind. Um, if you can get make sure if you're playing against them and if you control the battlefield, make sure or if you choose the battlefield, make sure you don't choose their graveyard. Again, their graveyard says choose a support or upgrade in your discard pile and place it on top of your deck. They want to do that. They want to get support or upgrades out of their deck and keep playing them. All right, and keep maneuvering stuff and putting stuff down and getting rid of it, because again, if you do disarm, remove one of your dice showing remove one of your dice showing range damage to a dice, discard a weapon of course from play. They're constantly playing shenanigans with all of these cards. So just keep that in mind. Now, if I'm also going up against this, do I go after Rey? Do I go after Han Solo? I've gone after Rey, I've gone after Han Solo. No matter which way, I had to be able to control them and disrupt the cards. Anytime I had disrupts, I was playing them. I didn't re-roll the disrupts to get rid of their resources. Anytime I had the discards, I played with the discards. So if I was playing a Django Veers deck. I had a Django Double Stormtrooper deck. I was playing some other different control type decks, trying to see if I can manipulate Han and Rey combinations and the shenanigans they have. It's just a nasty thing. But now, do understand this: it is luck of the draw. So if they don't get heavy blasters, holdout blasters in that first hand, or any heavy blasters in the first hand, you're going to have a strong chance to get some action and to get some things rolling, because that's where the redeploys of the holdout blasters and the heavy blaster pistol, those redeploys, the ambushes on them as well, and Rey's shenanigans. If you can keep that at bay, you're going to have a chance to beat this deck. And also just send damage as fast as you can. That's the other key thing. Disrupt their resources is also what I would do too. So if you have a disrupt, or if you have cards in your hand to disrupt, or if you have things in your hands where you can actually disarm or take away dice, or whatever the case may be, That is the key thing that I would do to go after this deck. All right, so looking at the stream feed here, Bryce definitely says, yeah, you need a second chance in there. When you get a bad start and Ray dies, it's the only way to win. That's what we were talking about before. So probably the one tweak is if you want to get rid of Ray staff and put a second chance in, that and like what I was just talking about, if you get a bad start, if you don't get the cards that the holdout blasters or the heavy blaster pistol in your hands right up the front, that second chance is going to keep Han Solo alive. And again, it makes your health go from 20 to 25. So it's a lot more damage that they got to deal. And the cool part is if you think about the hell shenanigans on how a tournament is won, if it does go to time, because you only have 35 minutes in a tournament round, if you goes to time, right, and you just healed 5 damage, all right, so if you knock out Ray, that's 10, right? Ray's 10 damage. If you knock out Han, right? Han's 10. But if you heal 5 damage, you only went back to 15. So second chance can actually manipulate that end result of who has the most damage dealt on your cards to see who actually wins. So keep that in the back of your mind. Michael Kramer says, would you run force protection for not shield generation? Let's bring that a card up so everybody can see what he's talking about. So force protection. So force protection, it's a blue character only. It says give 3 shields to your character distributed as you wish. It's got the 1 disrupt, 1 discard, 1 resource, and 2 specials and a blank. So 1 out of 3 chance you're going to get that 3 shields. And if you put, and again, it's only going to go on Ray to help Ray out. You know, it is a 3 resource. It's a luck of the die. You know, using the shenanigans with ambush and whatever dice we roll to get the shields. The whole if you want to help out, I haven't tried it with force protection. And you know what? I'm actually kind of glad you brought that up because that's probably one card that I actually have not played with that I want to find a home with. But I don't know if I want to put, you know, if I have 30 cards I'm being dealt with and the first 5 cards, do I want to put 2 of these in there, 1 of these, maybe one second chance and 1 force protection to take out Ray's staff? Maybe. But again, trying to get force protection out, if I don't see it in the beginning of the game or middle of the game, that's probably when I want to do it because I want to do all my shenanigans with all my ambushes and Ray's ability. I gotta see. You know, I haven't tried that. Maybe that's just something that we should try to put force protection there to help out Ray to make her stay alive a little bit. That's interesting. Not a bad suggestion there. Morgan says turn 1 holdout blaster on Ray, roll her and resolve the damage. I like it. Oh yeah, that is a nasty. That's the whole purpose of this deck. The whole purpose of this deck is you put the. It's just you know what it is. It's just like Django. So Django's got his ability. Django Fett. Let's pull him up so you guys can see what I'm talking about. Django Fett. Django Fett's ability, all right, it says after an opponent activates a character, you may activate this character. Usually when an opponent activates a character, that's their action, all right? With Django's ability, because you say they activated, you get a free activation from Django, and then you get your normal action, which you potentially can push damage through. So if Django Fett's filled up. So yes, that's exactly like, it's definitely like that combination. So you're building up. Now, Holdout Blaster on Ray. So let's say you actually get 2 more damage, 2 more things you can do here. So think about this. So Holdout Blaster, Morgan, has so if you play a Holdout Blaster for two resources, Ray's ability, you get a free action. Holdout Blaster is an ambush, so you get another free action. So you have 2 more free actions. And because it's played ambush, Han Solo gets a shield because of the whole Holdout Blaster ambush keyword. All right? So then you take your second action. So you can do a bunch of different things here, right? You can activate Han, right? And if it's got a disrupt in there, right? The 2 disrupt, let's say you have the double dice and one of them happens to be the 2 disrupt. Guess what? On the first turn, you can disrupt your opponent's resources, take away their 2 resources right off the bat. Then, so that's your first free action. Your second free action, you can also roll Ray's 3 dice now because she's got the 2 dice and 1 from Holdout Blaster, and you can't push it through, but you just shut down or hurt real bad your opponent because now they don't have resources to push through. That's talk about shenanigans. right? And if you really want to talk about shenanigans, if you're able, for whatever reason, to play another resource, let's say you got Han and you roll two resources, and you got something else that you could put on your hand to put on Ray, that's another ambush, another holdout blaster, you can almost get up to three additional actions because you're spending that one action to spend the resources on Han, right? You can get some more additional actions in that. It's just nasty. Daniel Nelson says, I use second chance 5 times in one game. Oh, you fished it out from your discard pile? No way. That's an awesome idea. You know what? Actually, now you got me really liking second chance. I like second chance, and it's been used against me a couple times. But second chance, where is it? I just had it. Second chance is an upgrade. Oh no, how'd you get it out? I'm actually kind of curious on how'd you get it out because it's an ability, not a weapon or an because if you're trying to use where is it, scavenge just says discard the 3 tiles, then you may add an upgrade or support. Oh no, it's an upgrade. Doesn't make a difference if it's an upgrade or ability. I'm thinking of disarm for some reason where it's upgrade, it says weapon or equipment. So scavenge, yeah. Or the battlefield. Ah, nice. I didn't think about that. Wow. Interesting. Jacob says, hey, bro, are you doing any X-Wing videos tomorrow? Not tomorrow, next week, Wednesday, normal time, and next week, I think Saturday, we have Epic tournament going on. So doing that. But I might do an X-Wing list review tonight. All right, so looking at this, yeah, okay, ooh, I didn't think about that. So if you run second chance, you can fish it out both with the Starship Graveyard, supporter upgrade, or you can fish it out with Scavenge, which is discard the cards and you may add an upgrade support from your hand. So you can play, and you get the resources. There's a lot of resource additions here, so you can get the 3 resources to play Holdout, and you can actually play 2 second chances on Han if you really want to get interesting. Actually, here's a question for you. Can you play, if you have 2 second chances on Han, before attached character would be defeated, instead heal 5 damage from it, discard this upgrade from play. Does that happen all at once? That's a good question. I never thought about that. But anyway, either way, you still getting, if you play that, able to play that several times, keep Han alive. I like that. All right. So all right, Jacob says, do it. X-Wing last night. I'll be up all night. No problem. We'll do. Daniel Nelson says, turn 1 Jedi robes to Holdout Blaster on Rey. All right, so let's pull up Jedi robes so everybody knows what we're talking about here. So, Jedi robes. All right, so Jedi robes is this card right here. It says, after you play this upgrade, give an attached character 1 shield or 2 shields instead if it's the first round of play, costing 2 resources. So after you play this upgrade, so you get 1 shield when you play it. The ability is 1 focus. You have 2 1 focus sides, 1 disrupt, 1 resource, plus 1 resource on a blank. I like Jedi robes and I don't like Jedi robes. I just can't find. It's just this card is one of those cards that like I want to love it. I really want to love it, but I can't love it. For some reason, it just drives me crazy sometimes. I'm not sure why. But that you can still play it. And the cool part about it is it's not a blue card only, so you can actually technically play this on Han. It's upgrade equipment, so you can play this on Han or Rey, which is nice. And you get an additional shield. You might want to put it on Rey, but with Rey, I've seen every time I played a Han and Rey deck against it, or my daughter's deck when she plays it against me, or if I play my daughter's deck, I'm always trying to get as many upgrades, holdout blasters or what have you, on actually Rey, so I could take advantage of all her action and getting multiple actions. And on top of it, I want to get the ambush thing as well. So I usually like to get, if I get Infamous down, which is Infamous is awesome, and if I can get Jetpack, 2 holdout blasters, or 1 holdout blaster and 2 Jetpack, if I can get that in the first 2-3 rounds. With Infamous, once per round, I can support that. If it's a Jetpack, I can tap it to make it an ambush card. because Infamous's ability, I like that combinations as well. All right, so that was. Oh, here we go. Morgan says before I end, it says if you play the robes, you can switch it for holdout plaster for free on the opening turn. Okay, okay, true. You could swap it out, and you're playing an upgrade, so you get the action, you get Ray's ability because you're playing an upgrade, and then you get the one shield, so you get the shenanigans. Overwrite robes to blaster 3 turns. Okay. All right. I like that. Okay. I can see where you're going with that. I might have to put it in my deck and play it out. But anyway, I wanted to show you guys this list. This is something that I've been playing with. I actually, the 2 decks that my daughter and I have been playing the most is the Han and Ray deck right here, the Elite Han, Elite Ray, what we call Ambush Aggro. And again, the original format that we had, I put in my list, and then we had some other variations of it. But then I also saw Epic Allen's, and this is Epic Allen's version and some other variations. The other deck that I've been playing is Elite Django and Elite Veers. So the Django Veers deck. We'll probably do another video for another night for that one for list review, and I'll give you the breakdown. But I just wanted to kind of discuss what Ambush Aggro is all about. How does it work? How do you play it? How do you play against it? When you play against it, it's kind of like one of those things that you pray and hope that they don't get a good opening hand, because if you see the shenanigans right off the first round, just again, buckle up your seatbelt and hold on tight, because you're going to be going for a crazy ass ride, especially with all those action economies. All right, that was another edition of Sling Paint Gaming. We are going to do another video after this. We're going to do an X-Wing list review video. I'm going to go look at my community forum and check out my community forum. So if you actually want, this is actually the link. The links are below in the description of this video to this list right here, and also in the description of this video is the list. But you guys can go on our forum and actually put some your own lists in here and think about it. And the cool part about that deck builder right here, you can actually copy or download, hit the text file, copy that text file right in here. It looks nice and formatted perfectly, and you can actually go in here and discuss it, and everybody goes in there. So I'm actually going to go into our forums right after this and do another video for X-Wing. I'm going to go into the listinator and pick one of those lists in here and figure out which list we want to talk about and discuss in the next upcoming video. If you guys like what we do here, please subscribe to our channel. That actually helps us grow and helps us know that you guys like what we're doing, so we can keep on doing it. And if you guys want to support us, the best way to support us right now is to purchase some tokens or t-shirts, and the links are below to our store. We actually have a whole bunch of custom Destiny tokens and X-Wing tokens, a bunch of colors and variations and what have you, and we're always coming up with new designs. I'm actually probably going to release some new designs in a couple weeks for both Destiny and X-Wing. But we have a bunch of stuff up there, and we're always coming up with new stuff. That will help us support us if you guys like it. Again, it's all in the links below. Also, check out our website, the community, which I told you about, slingpaint.com. Also, check out our Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and all that other fun stuff. And I appreciate you guys, and we're going to wrap this video up, and we're going to stop it, and we're going to start another video up in probably about 5 to 10, maybe 15 minutes. And that's it. I appreciate it, guys. Have a good night.